Okay,
I'm
Dr.
uh,
B.
I'm Dr. Elizabeth Boggier. I'm the owner of MountainView Veterinary Hospital. Currently, we have two practices, one in Rockaway and one in Denville, and we're under construction for another practice, also in Denville. And I've personally been in practice far longer than I'd like to mention, but it's been a long time. And Elvine, we work very closely with as far as behavior. So Elvine, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
My name is Elvine Weng. I'm a certified dog behavior consultant, and I am the owner of Bar Karma. That means I work for myself and my cats and my dogs. And I've been training for probably 10, 15 years professionally. And I got my certification in dog behavior consulting in 2020 when we actually all had time to sit down and get those things in order when in the middle of the pandemic. So, all right, should we jump right into? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about preparing and conditioning your pets for vet visits. And every animal's got to go to the vet. Some of these animals are can be terrified of going to the vet and can see it as a really poor experience. So what can we do at home to change that and through conditioning and desensitization? The first thing.
Can I just,
Yes.
I know I'm not going to jump in, I promise a lot, but when you said terrified, I think it's important because one of the things that I found is, we think that these pets are just anxious and they're not.
Yeah.
In some cases, they are truly terrified and they're panicking.
Yes.
And I mean, if every time you needed to go on a plane, you felt that way,
yeah.
you can imagine how they feel when they're coming into the vet's office. So it's important to start to put those techniques in place so that you can make it a better experience for both of you.
Yep, and the going on a plane thing, that's a great analogy. My family is in Thailand, so to fly to Thailand to see my family, that is an exactly 24-hour trip. Two flights, one of them being around 15 to 16 hours. And the best part is I absolutely abhor flying. So what do? Is in the beginning I went to my doctor and said, hey, can you hook me up with some Xanax? I can't do this. And got myself medicated, and eventually it got better and better. And then of course then I learned, as I get older, I learned to use points to upgrade, and I'm feeling a little better. So things like that, where we're conditioning ourselves to do certain things that we're not exactly looking forward to, and we can do the same for our pets, both cats and dogs. So conditioning at home through desensitization to touching and palpation. You want to touch them all over, because the way they're being examined, the way palpation works at the vet office, it's not something that they would experience on a daily basis. The way here comes the prop. The way we are this teddy bear belongs to my cat. So we're kind of tugging at their ears to look to do the ear exams. We're lifting their lids, we're opening their mouth, we're looking at their teeth. We're sometimes we might have to touch the gum a little bit, things like that. We need to start practicing at home. Now, every time you do this, every time we're handling our dogs or our cats on around their heads, things that are unusual, you pair it with treats, little tiny pieces of treats. Every time you give them a treat. Every time you lift their lids, you give them a treat. You pair everything that you do with treats. And what you do now is that you are working through, you're doing conditioning through positive association. So Dr. B, my dogs, they go in there and they're all over the place and they're jumping on the exam table. They're like treats. And that's because we worked on it quite a bit, and we're touching the paws, we're lifting the tail, looking at the butts, everything like that. That's I actually do it at home, believe it or not, because I gotta wipe their butt. I don't want I don't want skid marks on my furniture, so we wipe butts too. Yes. So head, eyes, ears, mouth. You want to lift their lips. You want to be able to pull their lips out to look at the teeth, things like that, because you're also maneuvering, like manipulating their mouths to do some brushing too, and that's also very important. Neck, because you will see Dr. B feeling around their necks. We want to feel the necks. We want to rib cage. We want to feel the rib cage, lower part of the body, legs, paws, paw pads. So a lot of times I would hold their paws and kind of massage their paw pads and feel around it. All of these are a little unusual, not everyday touching, but we do want to, especially puppies, we want to get them to be desensitized to this kind of like touching at the vet office. And of course, again, pairing everything with treats. There's a cat. Pairing everything with treats. The paw touching, the digit manipulation, a gentle pinching. That's gonna help your pet at the groomer too, because groomers have to hold their paws and squeeze on it so that the nails expose and so they can trim their nails. So a lot of these touching and manipulating has to do with what's being done at the vet's office, and we want to kind of simulate that at home too. Also, another important thing is gentle restraining. I do this a lot. And I would gently lift my 60-pound dogs, just because at some point in life you're gonna have to lift them at some point in life. So you want to kind of make this not an unusual a behavior to do at home. So we hold them. We're I can't. Well, my cat's not here, but we're holding them on the chest. We're wrapping our arm around their body like this, just very gentle restraining. 1, 2, 3, and you count. You want to count, the seconds that you're able to kind of gently restrain your dog or cat. Now, it is unlikely that you will be allowed to do this at the vet, which is restraining your own animals for Dr. B to examine. But we are, again, conditioning them to be held a certain way. And we're preparing, especially puppies, to be handled a certain way. Now,
can we touch
yes.
on why it's important that you don't, occasionally we will have an owner restrain their own pet. Yeah. And that's unusual. Because our team members and myself really would prefer to continue to work the rest of the day and not have to go to the ER because we've been bitten. So when animals are stressed, they'll do things that they never had done before. My own dog, when I was a kid, was hit by a car. Never did that dog ever even remotely bite me. But then when I picked her up, she had a fractured pelvis and broken back, and she turned around, she tried to nail me. So, it's one thing if she does that and I'm at home, but it's another thing we really want to protect ourselves and our team. Yeah.
And I call that heat of the moment. It's instinctual. When they hurt, they want to be released. So we have to be very careful, especially with the way, they're being restrained. But what what I want people to do is to teach that sensation at home. Not necessary for you to do it at, for Dr. Boggier, but to teach that sensation at home, so that when it happens to your dog or your cat, they're not like, oh my God, what is this? I don't understand this. And then they struggle even more. Right. There is a very interesting new trend in dog training and behavior, and that's called cooperative care. So we are starting to teach dogs, especially dogs, to be an active part of these vet exams, and some dogs can be taught to stand very still for blood draws. Some dogs can be taught to do a chin rest, and instead of being restrained, you can hold their chin and they stand very, very still to be examined. So those are the type of stuff that is going on in the behavioral, the animal behavioral world right now. And all of this came from zoo husbandry. You were teaching zoo animals to, through cooperative care. So instead of, instead of putting like the tiger under. We're teaching the tiger to open their mouth for us. We're teaching the tiger to expose their paws for us, that kind of stuff. There are a ton of videos on cooperative care on YouTube. One of them is it's called the Easy Chin Rest by Kiko Pup. So I will put that in the chat at some point. So basically we teach what's called a start button. So when the dog put his chin in your hand, that dog is telling you, okay, you can do what you need to do now. I will stand very still for you. And that's what's called that. So that dog is giving consent.
Come here, Ray.
What?
Come here, Ray. Let's see if he'll do it for us.
Okay.
Martha. Now Martha, she's very food motivated, so I think that might be helpful if I had a choose.
Yeah. And the Easy Chin Rest by Kiko Pop is a great video. I mean, step by step, and they're teaching you how to teach it, how to train a very shy dog to do that too.
Like
yes, yep. So definitely watch Easy Chin Rest on YouTube by Kiko Pop. It is great. We're literally teaching them to give consent. So the chin rest itself, which is called either the start button or consent, saying, hey, I'm ready now. And then when the dog removes his chin from your hand, then the dog's like, okay, you can stop now. So we're giving them that option, and we're building trust. And that's what this cooperative care is all about. Well, another thing is, and I think in a hospital in this area, when the staff runs into a dog that does targeting, then they know that dog probably comes from one of my training classes. It's where I teach a targeting. So what we do is that we put our hand out, we teach the dog to poop their nose on our hand. So this is fun. Dogs love poking things with their nose. And what we can do is I put my hand over the scale and teach the dog to climb onto the scale by touching my hand. So targeting, very, very easy. They're a lot of fun, and it actually builds confidence because it's so easy that the dog's gonna look at your hand and go, I know what that is, poop your hand, and they either get rewarded or they get loved up. And sometimes we need the dog to turn around. So instead of kind of push the dog around or drag the dog by the leash, then we swing the dog around with the targeting on the other hand. So again, targeting, great way to maneuver the dog in the exam room.
With Pincho, I've not had her too terribly long, and I think she picked up on the whole targeting thing really quickly. And she's very fearful. She's afraid of everything. Yeah. And I think she got some conflict. She was like, "Oh, I'm doing what you told me to do," and she gets
what they get out of doing. What they get out targeting is extreme. Like, I have not met a dog that cannot do targeting, and usually that's something that I would teach a shy dog or a timid dog. Once they're ready and they start doing targeting, and they're like, this is really easy and fun, and I get and I can enjoy this, and it becomes a game. It's great. And again, it builds confidence, because when dogs can repeat what they know really, really well, it builds confidence. So they're like, I can do this, and it builds confidence that way. The next part is the desensitizing cats and small dogs to transport carriers. Big. A lot of times people are not able to get their cats into their carriers the day off. The day off the visit. What you want to do is you want to put that carrier out in the open at least 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time.
We're transitioning now. We have a lot of cats right now who we talk to the owners about gabapentin, which is actually a pain reliever, and also works to help really settle down the cat. We recommend you give it the night before and the day of. Ideally, however, we would like for them to really not be terrified or scared of the crate. They're talking about now making your crate actually a part of the furniture of your home. Now,
yes.
How easy that is for some people, but it definitely makes a difference. One of my cats, he doesn't, I know you shouldn't do this, but my cat, he doesn't need a crate in the car because he's so accustomed to just traveling. He sits right on the console and just kind of looks around. So It is possible. It's possible to do. Start somewhere.
Yeah, and with the crates, if it cannot be put out, what I would do is actually just put it out periodically.
Yeah.
So that there's not a pattern to why it is out.
Right.
And what I would also do is actually put some treats in there and do a little bit of like a, like a hangout spot for treat hunts and snoozes. You can even put catnip in there. For small dogs, I would put, treat dispensing toys in there. So making, like, again, putting a positive association with the transport carriers. And you know my transport carriers, like, come with the with a little car, and everything's hooked up to the car, and there are two cats. Instead of me carrying them, because my cats are big,
Yes.
then I have a little cart. So something that again, put it out. I put it out from time to time, just to kind of throw things around a little bit, so that they are not seeing a pattern on why the carriers are out. And then I would just put them away. And then what I would do is I would put treats around it, keep the crate doors open, put treats in there. So the cats are always sniffing around and checking out to see if there are any, fun stuff in there. And then on the day when I really need them to go in there, I literally just throw treats in there and just kind of give them a little shove, and they're in.
You fool.
Exactly. So there's never really a pattern to why the carrier's out. I personally, I don't want it out all the time, because again, I already have like a ton of cat furnitures all over the place. I really don't need two more carriers out. But if you could put it out, like some of the carriers out there, one of them is called the sleepy pod, and it's beautiful, and it looks like a cat bed, round bed with a nest, with a net cover. So something like that you can put it out. It's just that I think, depending on how comfortable your cat is in the carrier, you definitely want to, either put it out from time to time, so that you're not. Yeah, it's cute, right? It's expensive though. But so you're not making it a predictable pattern, or just leave it out. And so how do we train? How do we practice carrying a pet to place into the carrier? Let's say you can't put it out, and this has to happen, from time to time. So from time to time, you work with them. You carry a pet, you carry your dog or your cat to the carrier, and you place them in front of the carrier, and then you give them a treat, and you walk away. So we train in layers. So the first layer would be in front of the carrier. Second layer would be first layer is carry to the carrier, and then just leave them be. Second is carry them to the opening of the carrier and place them there. And we're ending every step with treats. And the third one would be putting them in the carrier with treats already in it, and allow them to come back out. So you're training in the always train layers. We're not going to go straight from carrying and placing into the carrier, but we're going to do it in layers. But everything's got to end with treats or fun, something positive. Just because if you want me to go to the dentist, then you tell me, hey, Elvine, go to the dentist and we're going to have steak dinner tonight. I'll be like, yes, let's do this, right? So positive association. All right, so muzzling. We'll jump into muzzling in a little bit. Dr. B, can you talk about when muzzles are necessary?
Well, muzzles, you might initially think that muzzles are necessary just because you have a dog who's anxious and is trying to bite, but that's not necessarily the case. I can tell you there are many patients who, once you put the muzzle on them, they do start to quiet down. I had a friend, and I would not have believed it unless I saw it myself. And he was trying to trim his pet's nails, and he had put a muzzle on, and the dog would start to quiet down. And then I come to find out there are pressure points along the top of the bridge of the nose that can help to settle them down. Now, most dogs, by the time we get to that point, when we're pulling out a muzzle, if it's not something that we routinely use, they're already kind of mentally gone. However, over time, I cannot tell you how many cases we've had where, as you constantly condition them, and as they understand that things are going to be okay, and we can feel comfortable that we're not going to be assassinated, that you know,
Face
our
ripped off.
anxiety levels start to
Yeah.
lower
Yeah.
quite a bit. So it's not, and I don't know if you, I mean, I'm sure you have, Elvine, but if your pet has ever been into the office and we do put a muzzle on them, which we call party hats, just to be very politically correct, they are, they're very loose for the most part. So they can really nail you if they really wanted to, but for the most part, it's just, what do we say, to keep them honest. That's usually how we address it.
So for my clients, and I have to apologize to Dr. Voigt, because just about any client that I have that needs to wear a muzzle, I send them to Dr. Voigt. So, but you know, I promised her, I said they will come trained. Like, you don't have to worry about putting a muzzle on the dog. When the dog gets there, the dog will come to see you with muzzle already on. I promise. We will keep you safe, Dr. Voigt. So what I usually do, and I do a lot of muzzle training as well, because of, you know, the nature of my work with the day school and everything. Sometimes some dogs need to wear a muzzle in a multi-dog environment because there's too much stimulation. They don't know how to respond, so they get very mousy, which is inappropriate. I mean, nobody wants to get bitten on the butt. So what we do is we place a muzzle. They can a basket muzzle with a lot of room. So they can open their mouth, they can pant, they can drink, and they can eat. They just can't bite. They cannot reach you. So for dogs that we know will require muzzling at the vet, then we start muzzle training at home. We teach them how to wear a basket muzzle at home, and we want a dog to wear that muzzle at home, get into the car, get to the vet, get seen, and then come home, and then the muzzle comes off. We don't want to put that muzzle on at the vets, because then the panic has already started, the struggle's already started. Exactly. So you do want, and we also don't want to associate the vet with, you know, that unpleasant restraint around their faces. Mm-hmm. So that difficult part, that unpleasant part, we want to start that at home. And also at home, I mean, you could go out for a walk with the dog with the muzzle and come back home, and the dog, you know, none the wiser, like, okay. And then by the time you get to the vet with the muzzle already on, the dog is already there. So again, we are teaching the dog, that muzzle can go on for you know, a variety of things, but once it's on, you're going to remain calm, and there's going to be a lot of treats. You know, there's going to be a lot of sweet talking. It's going to be very, very positive. But again, my personal feeling as a behavior consultant is that if we agree that this dog needs to be muzzled at the vet, then we do muzzle training at home first. The muzzle that I reach for the most, this is almost an industry standard. It's called the Baskerville Ultra. So it is a hard rubber muzzle that comes in a variety of sizes, and that can be shaped if needed, can be reshaped if needed. And it's very, very, very useful. So muzzle training, again, YouTube, there's a very old video, but almost like industry standard video in muzzle training by Chirag Patel. And it's step by step. It's very easy. What it does require is patience and good timing, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks practice to get to the point where the dog is going to be wearing the.
I've not heard of. You said the Bakersville Ultra Muzzle.
Baskerville. Baskerville. Baskervill. Ultra.
How does this mold to the face of the pet?
It's hard rubber, so it's already what some dogs have a wider muzzle, some dogs have a narrower muzzle. So what we can do is actually put it in boiling water for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And then shake them, press them down to make them narrow but taller, or flatter but wider.
Can I use that for my husband?
Muzzles?
We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see. He might join us later, so we'll find out.
So again, for you know, muzzle training, we want to make sure that if both your trainer and your vet agreed that this dog should be muzzled to see a vet, then that muzzle training needs to start at home, and they need to wear that muzzle at home, not in the car, not at the parking lot, not in the waiting room, but at home. Be prepared, get it done, go over there, take it off when you get back home. Okay. So, Dr. B, do you have any questions or anything to add?
Not about the topics that you had discussed. I think
Okay.
I'm going to be taken away once either they're not ready or everything else has failed, and I'll be talking more about pharmaceutical management.
Yep.
If
Go
you
ahead.
wanted me to, I can certainly jump into that.
Yes, please.
We are at Mountain View. We're in the process of becoming fear-free certified, and it's a certification that you can obtain hospital-wide. You can also obtain it individually. We do have several members who are already certified, and it's, I hesitate to say the kinder, gentler way, but it is not. It's more of a way to address the anxiety before it becomes not manageable. So a lot of the things that you're talking about now, yes, those are absolutely things that you should start. You should start with our puppy. I know Archie's probably watching. I see you, Peggy. But there are things that you want to start from the very get-go. What do you do, though, if you have the pet who is a shelter animal, or somebody that you've had for coming brand new into your house and they've already come with problems? There are a ton of medications that can be used. So we decided we're just going to pare it down to about 3. The first one I'm going to talk about is CBD. Now, CBD is all the rage. It's all over the place. You get it at the gas station, for heaven's sake. The problem is, though, CBD is not yet very well regulated. So when I say that, it just means that pretty much anybody can write, yes, there's X percentage of CBD in this product, but it's not being monitored. So I would encourage people, if you look at treats, there's a lot of treats out there that have them available, but not all treats are made the same. So if you try a quote unquote calming treat and it does have CBD in it, and it doesn't seem to be working, I encourage you to perhaps try a different brand and see if that works for you, because we know it does help. But the concentrations are going to be different in different products. So CBD is never a bad idea. Can help for a whole lot of different things, from situational issues to even daily use. Then there's gabapentin and trazodone. Now, those 2 products, if you've ever taken your pet to us for surgery or even an ultrasound, now we're recommending it, because what it does is sometimes we use both products together, and sometimes we'll just use one product, and that depends on the pet's level of anxiety. And what these do is they help to obviously, take them down a notch, so they're not quite, shaking. Years ago, because I'm an old timer, it used to be the pets would come in and they're shaking and they're panting and they're anxious the whole time they're there. And now we realize by dispensing these comfort packs, the owners give it the night before, and they also give it the morning of, and the pets are far more relaxed. And that's what we want, because every time they come in, if you're anticipating there to be a problem, or if they pick up on the owner's anxiety, because that's another issue. When you have an owner who's, I remember we had this poor gentleman, and he was so concerned. He was just, it took him days to just make the appointment, and it went very well. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it went very well. But you don't have to have that kind of anxiety. We have these products. Trazodone is a mild sedative. It's used very commonly. It's used very commonly in pets who have had, particularly young pets who have had surgery, and you need to keep them confined. So it can be used on a long-term basis if needed. Gabapentin is actually, it's called, on the human side, it's called Neurontin, and it's used as a pain reliever, but a side effect of it is also sedation. It's a very safe product, and we use it very commonly. The other thing that we have found with the gabapentin too is that used in conjunction with the trazodone, the 2 of them work synergistically. They work together. Gabapentin also is very safe as well. So if you have a pet who you're concerned they can't take non-steroidals, or you're concerned about knocking them out, or something like that, then this is the product for you. Again, because I'm 100 years old, they used to use things like acepromazine.
It's oh
Oh yeah,
oh no.
yeah. And
I
ace
mean
was kind of like it
it's
would just knock them out, or
paralysis with a clear mind.
right, or it wouldn't touch them. So then you would wind up having the pet who comes in and they gave it and it has zero effect, and then they go home and they sleep for 3
Because
days.
they're already like here with anxiety and adrenaline.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So fortunately we've come far.
Hmm.
Ideally, we would like to not use pharmaceuticals. However,
Yeah.
do not hesitate to talk to one of us or your regular veterinarian about using. It's called PVP, pre-visit pharmaceuticals. It's not unusual. In fact, it's becoming mainstream, and I would certainly encourage you to talk to either one of us or your own veterinarian about it.
So obviously administering medication to dogs are a lot easier than cats. How do you give, let's say gabapentin to cats?
Well, the beautiful thing about gabapentin for cats is it does come in a liquid,
Oh,
um,
okay.
so that's helpful. It
Yeah.
also does come in. Also, we have it compounded in a very, very small tablet, which can be crushed and put in a small amount of food. If you have, this is a whole nother topic, but I'm a big fan of what's called time-restricted meal feeding for cats,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
which is where you feed them a certain amount at a certain time. Each cat is away from each other so they can be relaxed. But by doing something like time-restricted meal feeding, typically they are accustomed to eating what you're giving them at a certain time. So now I feed my cats in the morning and at night. At
Hmm.
nighttime, I put them in the room and I make each one of their meals because of their
Hmm.
spoiled rotten. And I know if they've eaten or they didn't eat. Now,
True.
it would be rare for one of my cats not to eat, but if you did have a cat who you're like, not 100% sure, at least then, if you've done something like that, then you know whether or not they've
Right.
eaten or if did
Right.
somebody else get it.
Right. Right. And uh, um I know most people free feed their cats. I don't. I do the time restricted feeding and they're separated. So I know who's eating what and how much.
Exactly.
And that way, we can keep their weight in check. We can keep if they each have different, needs and sustenance or allergies, whatever, we can keep them, again, everything in check. It's all about honestly, it's all about control. I just want control over, something that I mean, I have no control over my cats. So food is the only thing I have control over. So,
One of these
but
days, I would like to do a video and
yeah,
just show kind of like how I prepare it and everything else,
yeah,
because there's a whole bunch of other things when it comes to cats as far as dry food and canned food and blah blah blah. But I talk about it almost every day
yeah,
with clients, and it does make a big difference. It also helps with medicating
yep.
because then they're accustomed to eating at that time. They typically chow it down, and then they're none
And
the wiser, and you're good.
we're all wet in this house. No dry food whatsoever because no. That's great. Now, I do encounter a lot of questions about CBD
Mhm.
in my line of work, and especially because it is over the counter, so it's easy to get to. I tend to recommend things that the brands that I know that works. Like for example, my in this household, I use CBD myself, and I can share those with my pets. And what I do is I either put drops in their food or
Mhm.
put drops on the treat. So and I do like the human grade CBDs just because there's a little bit of that extra layer of protection, whereas the pet CBD is
Well,
completely
yeah,
unregulated.
yeah. The problem with anything pet related, two things happen. If
Yeah.
you put a picture of a puppy or a kitten on anything, the price goes up by
Paw
100%.
print,
Yeah,
paw print.
paw print, exactly. And then the
Yeah,
other thing is too that unfortunately, they can't tell you. They can't tell you that there's no placebo effect.
yeah,
So it's good if you're trying to find out whether or not they're responding to, let's say, pain medication. But on the
yeah.
flip side, if you're getting a product that has nothing in it but sawdust,
Right.
you don't know, and
Yeah,
they can't tell
yeah,
you.
yeah. And also, one more thing that I always, I tell people, yes, you can try CBD, but you need to talk to your vet first because CBD does interact with some medications out there, Prozac being one of them. So that's something that I always say.
And the other name for Prozac is fluoxetine. We have a lot of pets on fluoxetine. So it's very important to know before you use something like CBD.
Definitely check with your vet. It is over the counter, but that's use it responsibly.
Not the Prozac.
No, not the
Prozac. maybe eventually, but not right now.
One for you,
exactly.
and one for me.
That's why I don't have it in the office, because I'm just let's not do that. We script it out. Let's not.
I just want to do a time check, you guys. It's almost 10 after, and we have 2 topics left.
I know. I'm going to. I need somebody to hit us over the head with time, and then we'll jump right over. All right. So, social support. We want to talk about social support in a sense that build a healthy and strong emotional bond with your animal. You want to teach the common phrase, "It's okay." When you go out and you go out for a walk with your dog and a garbage can gets blown by, the dog gets startled. You say, "It's okay," and you share in that calmness. You share in that confidence, and the dog's gonna look at you and be like, "Oh, we're not gonna die, right?" Okay, and so yes.
I have to interject here, and perhaps I'm completely wrong, but I specifically tell clients not to use that phrase.
Okay.
Yeah, because what happens is typically when people go, "It's okay," they say it in that sing-song voice.
Right. You don't want to say, "It's okay, it's okay." You don't want it. You don't want to add your anxiety to the phrase. You want to be in a very Zen-like mode most of the time. So when I'm saying "it's okay," I really mean it. I'm not going, "Oh my God, it's okay." Yeah. That is not what I mean by "it's okay." And that's the next thing is calm social support. Okay, we're not trying to. Listen to your own voice. What do you sound like when you're calm? And that's kind of voice that you want to carry with your dogs, with your cats. Right? I don't want you talking to your animals when you're cheering the Yankees. That is not what we want in a in a calm social support. You want to show your pet that you're reliable and dependable during crisis. So you got to have that almost like crisis voice where it's okay. And that's what I'm talking about here. Again, very Zen-like. Keep the emotions down a little bit. Bring your voice down. Drop your tone. And I like to tell people to think of a printer printing out paper. It's very mundane. It's kind of boring. It kind of brings our emotions down. We're not going, "Oh my God, hurry up." We're just going, "Okay, I have 2 more pitches to go." And that almost like boring mentality is how you can calm yourself down and also calm your animal down as well.
Like my chemistry professor in undergraduate.
Right?
Monotone,
that low voice.
Keep it going.
Very slow speech. You're almost about falling asleep, that kind of stuff. Keep your human emotions in check. Fear, anxiety, annoyance. Don't be annoyed because your animal is fearful. Like a lot of people get annoyed or embarrassed because the dog's got their tails tucked in and their ears pinned to the head. Yeah, poor thing. Just be calm, be supportive, and keep your own insecurities in check. Again, Zen-like. I like to shout this out because it has the opposite effect. But I'm, whenever people are like panicking, I'm like, "Calm blue ocean." Just a joke, but calm blue ocean. Keep it down. Be Zen. Be that boring monotonic voice. But again, bring your emotions down and keep it in check. The next one I want to talk about is non-recognition aggression in cats. Sometimes you bring a cat to the vet, or the cat spends a couple of days at the vet, and the cat goes home, and the other cat's like, "I don't know who you are. I'm going to attack you. That's called non-recognition aggression in cats. I actually, that happened to, my two previous cats, for like, they once wanted to kill the other for about a month. Eventually I put a different scent on both of them, so the aggressor was like, oh, okay, and then he was done. How the easiest way to work through non-recognition aggression in cats, really to bring both cats together if you can,
Yeah, I just read an article about that. That seems to be the latest thing with the American Association of Feline Practitioners, is bringing them both.
Yeah,
help with that.
yeah, and that's the easiest way to get, if you know it's happened before, the easiest thing to do is to bring both cats together. That's the easy way to get through this. Non-recognition.
Desensitize them to coming to the vet.
Yes. Or gabapentin everybody. So non-recognition aggression can be a big problem with cats, but the easiest way to resolve that is to bring both cats together. Etiquette. Waiting room etiquette. This is a big heavy topic for me. Give other people and their animals space. This is, don't assume all the animals are social, especially not at the hospital. We never go to the hospital to have a cup of tea and chit chat. The same thing at the vet's hospital, at the waiting room. Transport carriers, keep them facing inward. So your animals are not exposed to the floor, and any other animal can come up to them. A lot of people, before I knew better, I would have the cats, a carrier facing outward so that they can see what's going on. But then people will let their, yes.
Just, we do have the availability, if you do have somewhat, a cat in particular that you don't want to put on the floor, we will bring them into X-ray where it's quiet and the lights are off, where they can be by themselves, because we don't want them traumatized. We don't want them terrified before they're seen.
Yeah, sometimes we're holding our carrier there, and then somebody will let their dog approach your cat carrier, and they will say, "Oh, my dog loves cats," and I'm like, "Yeah, but my cat is not in the mood to see anybody right now." Okay, so again, keep your dog, keep your pets to yourself, and keep them close to you, and that's not. It's no time to socialize. So if you have a carrier, you have a cat, you can either hold in your lap, or you can put it on the floor and point the opening inward. Or what I do most of the time is I wait in my car with my menagerie of animals. I call in and say, I'm here, and then they call me when the room is ready, and we they part the Red Sea for us. We go in, everybody's happy. Nobody needs to be stressed out. We'll just wait outside. I don't need to hold 3 dogs in the waiting room. So
that. Thank you, Elvine. We are perfectly happy to accommodate anyone who would like to do that.
Not have 3 dogs in the waiting room, right?
Well, it's not so much that, but it's whatever works for you and works for your pet.
Yeah.
If it's better that way, fantastic. Works for us too. We just want the visit to go as smoothly as possible, and we want people to be comfortable with it.
There's always room for discussion. Let's just put it that way. I think you know what I mean? Like let's talk about how we can make this a little better next time. And also be understanding and supportive to the other pet owners. There are dogs out there that don't like other dogs or animals, and there are cats out there that don't like other dogs, the other cats or animals. So, but they still need to see the vet.
Right.
So don't get, or like, well, why is that nasty dog in the waiting room? Well, they have to see the vet. So like, be understanding and be supportive, and be kind. Really be kind. And absolutely not the right place for animals to roam and socialize. And I will tell you a prime example. I don't know, Dr. Thuy, I don't know if you remember my German pinchers, Sydney and Ada. They don't like other dogs, right? And that's perfectly fine.
With the basket muzzle on.
Yeah, they always come in with basket muzzles. So I remember being there with Sydney once, and this gentleman came in, opened the door, and a golden retriever just flew in, dragging the leash, pounced on Sydney, and was like, "Hey, let's be friends." All my training with that poor dog went down the drain. And since then, he was just like, golden retrievers, I hate them. They need to die. And since then, I had to, stay in the car with them because, again, people think that, hey, my dog is friendly, so he should be able to go up to any dog or cat and interact and socialize with them, no matter the situation, no matter the location. But that is not something you want to do, in a waiting room, the vets. So, again, be kind, and be supportive of other owners.
I love that. Be kind. That's very important.
Yeah.
And, and you also don't know what the other pet, my mother had a golden retriever, nicest dog on the planet, nicest. I don't know what he was sending off to other people, or other pets rather, but other animals just didn't like him. There'd be like bigger dogs who would like attack and he didn't do anything. We felt horrible. I don't know what the circumstances were, but she eventually learned that, what, maybe I should just keep him sitting back here and see if your dog wants to say hello.
And again, in the group, the multi-dog training that I work with, I see a lot of that. There are the two most hated breed by other dogs: golden retrievers, boxers.
Really? Yes. Get out! Really?
Golden retrievers and boxers,
huh.
Because both dogs, socially to other dogs, are rude.
Oh,
a lot of jumping, pawing. Yeah. There's no sniffing.
And they see it as annoying, I guess.
Oh my God, they see it as rudeness. Because dogs, they do their half circles and sniff butts, and they do their thing, right? These guys just come flying in. Boxers will punch you in the face, like, "Hey, I love you, man." Punch you in the face. Golden retriever jumping all over you. Let's play. And the dog's like, we haven't even say hello yet. You know. So those are the two most hated breeds. Most of those, when they meet a golden retriever or a boxer, they're like, "Oh, it's one of those idiots."
You know what? This was incredibly insightful. That's like the best piece of information I think I've received all evening. I think that's wonderful. Thank you for that. Because I couldn't understand why nobody liked Jessie. I couldn't understand
it's the body language. Yeah. It's just it's kind of like putting an extrovert into a group of introverts, and everybody's just like, "Oh my God."
You don't even have to explain that to me.
Just stop. Yes. Yeah. But those are the two breeds that I often have problem with: golden retrievers and boxers.
Okay.
Well, this has been great. We're almost at 7:30. Does anyone have any questions? Please enter them in the chat box.
And if not, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You can always email us or.
Yeah, you can always email. Yep.
Speaking of social anxiety and introverts.
Introvert, and I am a total introvert. It's really, it's the weirdest thing, but it's like almost against my my profession. But when I'm not working, I stay home. I stay home. All right, so I'm gonna paste the links to those two YouTube videos.
And you can send it to me actually, and I can also
it's right there.
I can email them out.
Thank you, Barbara. Also, I did just want to mention about the fear-free training that we're going through right now. If you have more interest in fear-free, you can go to, I think it's fearfree.com. I'm sure if you put it in there, you'll find it. And you are going to find a tremendous amount of information about about training and behavior, and it's very insightful.
There's that video you show of the body language. That's a great video.
Which is huge. People think, oh, they're wagging their tail, they're happy. Not necessarily.
It depends. Again, it depends on the position, the context. Context is really everything, right? Now, Dr. B, really quickly, what inspired you to get fear-free certified?
You know what? I think what inspired me was the fact that we would have, I saw the difference. There was a particular client whose name, I don't have permission to mention, so I won't, but she worked with this pet. She got him as a rescue dog. He was not good. He had to be muzzled every time he came in. And over time, he just got better and better and better. And it was really rewarding to see the difference, the communication between the owner and the pet, and us and the owner, and just making that pet's life easier was dramatic.
Very good. And I'm assuming she probably did a lot of behavior modification
She did.
with her pet. And that's something that that is extremely important. You cannot averse your way out of a fear issue. Most of the time we need to be, again, be kind, be gentle, be kind.
Correct.
And not just be kind to our animals, be kind to the staff, be kind to your veterinarian, be kind to the other pet owners that you encounter, and be just be kind, really be kind and be considerate. So,
And Peggy, if you would mind, please just showing us Archie. Come on. There he is.
oh my goodness,
Good boy. He is.
I will never admit to this, but Cavalier King Charles Spaniels are my secret love. I will never admit to
You know,
this.
you're being recorded, right?
I will still say it's fake news. It's a deep fake.
Yeah.
But
the
they're
eyes get you. Yeah.
I work with two that comes to me weekly, and I'm like, I tell their owners all the time, like, I can't believe I'm being paid to do this. I get to hold them and cuddle them.
Well, thank you, Elvine. I certainly appreciate you
welcome.
coming in, and I hope everyone received at least a little bit of information about it, about something that helps you along the road. And certainly, if you have any other questions, or please don't hesitate to send us an email, and we'll call it a night.